Hi everyone and welcome to another Flosstube video. If I'm a little bit rusty, I haven't been recording for 43 days. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit rusty, but hopefully you will enjoy this video. I have a lot to talk about today, so today we have an agenda. First, we're going to talk about cross stitching. I'm going to go through the stats, my fully finish. We're going to talk about my finishes, my work in progress, and technically my starts, but all the starts, yeah, I have one start that I just have a little bit of progress on. The other ones are actually finishes, so that's good, that's good. When I have finished all my cross stitching, I will also talk a little bit about crocheting because I've been doing that too. And at the end of the video, I will talk about like health and life updates. Yeah, that is everything I'm gonna go through. But before we jump into the stats, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It warms my heart that you want to spend some time with me. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Marika. I come from Stockholm, Sweden, where I live with my boyfriend and our 2 cats. And this is a channel mostly about cross stitching. So guys, it's been 43 days since I last recorded. And that means we have some stats. In these 43 days, I have stitched on 10 projects. I have stitched 32,550 stitches. Yeah. I have had 4 finishes, 5 starts, and I worked on 5 works in progress. So yeah, that's a little bit of stats for you, and there will be more stats coming in as we work on some projects. But first I want to showcase my fully finish. This is a project that I actually promised away in June of last year, and then my life has been chaotic and I never got to it, and I have felt very guilty about it. So I have finally sat down and done the finish, and this will go out in the mail today or tomorrow, so the day I'm recording, or Friday, probably into the mailbox on Friday because I'm gonna go out to the mailbox tomorrow. So yeah, sorry that it took so long. I feel really guilty about it, but it is done, and that is the Queer Goth. So I gave this away before it was a fully finish. I had finished the stitching. I really love the sentiment. I really love stitching rainbows. I really love stitching things from like I'm a white cis person, and my pronouns are she, her, but I do believe that everyone should be able to be who they are, who they feel they are on their inside, without persecution, or yeah, everyone should be able to be who they are. And I feel that society today just gets more and more terrible, and yeah, I'm gonna cry if I'm gonna talk about this, so we're gonna try to move on from it, but just know this is a safe space. I love you whoever you are. I don't judge you for whom you are, and there's nothing more wonderful than seeing people living the life that they, in their person that they like to be. Anyhow, I'm already, yeah, no, we're not crying today. Probably will towards the end of the video, but we're gonna try not to. But this, anyhow, is from Witchy Stitcher, and I just fell in love with it. I got mine through one of these charity packs for Pride, but I think you can get it from her now if you want to. And I have finished it into wall hanging. I need little metal circles to have on the back, but I have them. I just haven't sewed them on yet. But it's super simple. I did the thing that I did with the circle. I didn't record this because it was an odd shape. I didn't know if it will work, but it actually does. You can do it with any shape you want. It worked actually out fairly nice. So I used the same fabric as I have on the back. The back is a pink stripe with a really bright pink, and I felt that it fitted well with the design, but I didn't want it to be in your face. So I took this black spider fabric, and I actually ran out of it now, so I can't really make anything else with it. And then I did this is the inside fabric, so you just see a little sliver of it, and then I did a little pink stitch around it. And then I chose this purple. It might not be the perfect match, but I don't really have that many other purples. This is the end project, and I kind of like it. I actually kind of like it. It was fun. I have hand stitched the edging on. But I stitch on one end, I stitch on the sewing machine, and then I just hand stitch it in the back because you get a little better part. But yeah, that is that project. That is my fully finished. I'm really enjoying it. It took me like 4.5 hours to do or something. I don't know. I went into a total focus period. I forgot to drink and eat and everything, but it is done. So next step is my finishes. I have 5 finishes. However, one of those 5 finishes is a secret project, and I will show it to you when it's fully finished and has gone to the recipient. So I will kind of record it. Let's take these in the order that I finished them, because I have a fancy little thing, Notion, here on my screen, just to make things a little bit easier. So the first finish I had what was the Witch's Cauldron, that's the word. This is a Mill Hill kit. It is from the Autumn Harvest collection, and I think it's the 2024. I do think I have a couple of those more kits in my stores. And also all of these like little yellow beads up here are glow in the dark. If I take this under black light or I have it out in the sun during the day, it will glow. And by the way, those beads really glow. I don't know if I have told you this, but I have a stash of beads in our bedroom. Our light in our bedroom is a daylight bulb because it was my previous office, and I did a lot of recording in there. So when we go to bed and we turn off our top light and we go to bed, it actually is glowing in my bookshelf, because that is where I have my glow in the dark beads. So they do light up. So that is awesome. So that is a Witch's Cauldron. And while I was doing this, I had a lot of fun, and I'm like, I have one more kit, basically kitted up. So a couple of months ago, I took my printer. I have a printer up here. I'm pointing to it and I realized you can't see it, but I have a printer up there, but that has a scanner, and I scan in the Mill Hill patterns and I put them into Markup RX because that makes my stitching more efficient and also better, I have realized. And I scan in those and I do them kind of in bulk. So I take a couple of them that I'm thinking I'm going to stitch, and I do that, and then I take 1 or 2 of them and I kind of do all of the prep work. And if you want to know exactly all of the prep work, maybe I can put a little link here, but I do have my one and only tutorial. There will be more. I hopefully will have both energy and time to do it now this spring, but there is a tutorial on how I do my prep work with how I sort threads and stuff. But I had 2 projects that I actually had sorted, both the beads and the threads, so they were just ready for stitching. So one was this one, and the other one was from the Spring Bouquet series from 2024, I think. And the one I had stitched up is this Painter's Palette, which I think is a great like little ornament for someone who is artsy. It is super fun to stitch. It has a lot of like every little color here have beads. I tried to move it around a little bit so you can see the shine from the beads, and then you have that little treasure on that also. It was super fun to stitch. It was a lot of different colors of beads. There's not a lot of beads, but there were a lot of different colors, and I had a lot of fun finishing that too. So I had 2 finishes. Then I finished my ADC swap. So this is going out also basically today, because I was supposed to send it out like Monday, Tuesday, and then I realized if I'm recording my video, I'm just gonna it's gonna be a day or two late. That's just how it is. And this is for the ATC swap. I have a link down below to the Instagram of the ATC and swaps. I never remember the exact name. It's a longer name, so it will be linked in the description down below. It's Heather from Link Is My Homeboy, who have that account and is hosting swaps. So she has two different kinds of swaps. One is an ATC swap and one is a swap. So the swap that I'm doing this time around, I am actually sending to Heather herself. And that is also why I have to keep it secret, because she knows, because she's the one that's hosting it, she knows that I am giving to her. I have no clue who's gonna give it to me, so whoever is going to give it to me can showcase it wherever they showcase it, and I will not know until it comes to me. But as Heather knows that I am her swap partner, the ones they're gonna send to her, I don't want to showcase the design until it's finished. So that's my other finish, and that is what I'm not gonna show. But the ATC person that is getting it doesn't know, so I can showcase it, because then I can send it away. And this is the ATC. The theme was Once Upon a Time. So what I did, I knew that I had two samplers from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery that were like Once Upon a Time. And there is one that is called Once Upon a Time Sampler that has like every month, and then they have a different character per month. This is September, and I just loved the design, and I decided to stitch it. Now after I did the card, because I hadn't the card in mind, I actually stitched this on some vintage country mocha, and I did that because I had a spot on my finishes from 12 by 12 NY, my New Year's Eve 12 by 12. I had a spot in the middle that were like just extra fabric, and I'm like, this piece will fit there perfectly, so I chose to go with that fabric. Now hindsight, you know, always hindsight, 2020, I probably should have gone with the white fabric, where I also have one of those spots, but hey, it looks fairly good. And then I've used doodlebug papers to kind of make the background. So these are fussy cutted out from some paper, and then I just made two little hills from another pattern paper, and this is another pattern paper that is just a color. So that is the finished piece. I had a lot of fun with this, and many of my previous ATCs I have kind of filled up the whole design space with a design, and then I have wrapped the fabric around and kind of just sewn it together. Like laced the piece left and maybe added something. I think this is something I want to continue doing, just doing a little, like a big part of it is just the stitching, and then you have the rest of it is like papers and stuff. And I love Doodlebug, and Doodlebug and Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery goes so well together. So yeah, that is my next finish. So let's get into my works in progress. Before we go into work in progress, I just want to do a little like highlight of Q-snaps. I have had a 8x8 Q-snap for a very, very long time. A couple of years ago, I realized I also have an 11 by 11. I don't like the height of the 11, but I could put it together with my 8x8, getting an 8 by 11 frame. It's a little bit small. And a lot of the projects that I have stitched on in this past month are projects that I didn't enjoy stitching on last year, and I have figured out that most of it is because my frame was too small. Part of my 1, 2, 3 stitch order was one 17-inch frame and 2 extension packs, one for the 14-inch frame and one for the 20-inch frames. So basically what they do, the extension packs, the 14-inch frame extension packs works with the 11-inch frame. So you take an 11-inch frame and then you add on the 14-inch. And because you can do it just like with the 8-inch, I have made an 8-inch by 14 from that. The 17-inch, I made an 8 by 17-inch frame, and the parts left of that 17-inch frame, I used the 20-inch extension pack and made a 8 by 20-inch frame, and you're gonna see that too. This is the 8 by 17 frame, and I'm really enjoying stitching on it. Really enjoying stitching with this wider. So The first project that I'm going to show you for my whips are my Paris Market Sal. This is a dimension kit. It is stitched on the dimension fabric. I think it is an 18 count ivory with the dimension kit threads. Just a note, one more thing I did to enjoy stitching on it more is I have actually sewed on some cotton fabric on the edges just to give it extra material, because you get a very slim border on the dimension kits, and by adding that fabric I can place the whole project a little bit more centered into the, or a little bit higher up into the frame, which means that these stitches aren't hard to get to, making it much more enjoyable to stitch. So this is Paris Market. I have stitched for 6 days and 3,965 stitches. I had a lot of fun. I am hoping to be able to get 15,000 stitches this year on this project. It is a 66,000 stitches project, so I don't think I will finish it this year, but around 15,000 stitches should be somewhat like a third of it, so hopefully that will, or fourth, a quarter of it. I'm not good at counting today, but about a quarter of it should have been done by the end of the year, so I hope I can get that. I'm stitching this for hashtag farmorsal and hashtag Paris Market Sal. If you are stitching the Paris Market project, please tag it, and please tag me. Please tag me, because the hashtag doesn't always showcase what they're supposed to over on Instagram. So if you're sharing on Instagram and you're stitching it, tag also me, because that would be really fun, because I really want to see your progress. Also, if you want to join, you can still join. Hashtag farmorsal is if you are stitching, instead of stitching Paris Market, or if you are stitching Paris Market for your grandmother, then you can join under that hashtag too. Farmor means father's mother in Swedish. So in Sweden we actually have different words depending on if it's my grandmother on my father's side or my grandmother on my mother's side. So father's mother means or farmor means father's mother. So yeah, but that is where I am. I've stitched this part of it. I still have a whole bunch of French knots on this. This has so many French knots, but this area is supposed to have more French knots. I just want to get a little bit higher here, so none of the French knots are in between stitches. That was that project. Let's go to my next project. This is going to be one of my full coverage. The illustrator is Ivy Delamore. The shorter is Unconventional Stitches. It is called Rose Library, and it is stitched on 25 count easy grid by Zweigart. I really enjoy this fabric. The holes are slightly bigger than on a regular 25 count, so it's a little bit easier to get even stitches with 2/1. So I've been really enjoying it. Also, you don't have to grid it yourself. It's already have a grid and it's washable and everything. I enjoy it. But here is where I'm at. I have stitched 5 days. I have stitched 3,433 stitches. This is part of my Whip Go, and this has come up both for February and for March for Whip Go, and I have finished those. So here it is. This is a little unicorn end piece. It is super adorable. It is very blurry, but then again, this is just the top right corner. These pieces aren't supposed to be super detailed. The detail are more in the center. So we'll see when I get there. But this is how far I got, and it was super fun. I actually was stitching on this last night, but I wanted to switch projects the day because I'm recording today. I wanted to have the project that I'm stitching on today will be shown in next week's video. I didn't finish the diagonal because it got too late. But here it is. I had a lot of fun with it. Next project is going to be Autumn Love. That is another one of those projects where I'm like, I don't know if I'm enjoying it, if it is the block stitching or whatever it is. Well, I figured out the reason why I didn't enjoy it was because I couldn't get the whole project in the 11-inch frame. So I put it in the 17-inch frame, and now I have loved stitching on it. I loved it so much that I stitched for 7 days. Which is not very common for me. Usually stop stitching for quite some time. But I have stitched 5,856 stitches on this, which is super fun. That's a lot of stitches. This is stitched on Vintage Country Mocha even weave 32 count. It is stitched 2/2 and the shirted threads. And what I have done on this project, I'm gonna have to fold it because I can't hold it that way, but I've stitched this little pail. I've stitched like 3 of these. Then we're gonna fold it so that you can see more of it a little bit better. I have stitched the roof and everything below it. Stitched 3 of these and the borders, and I've stitched all of this throughout the time. And then I started with the autumn, and then I decided I needed to move on. But it was super fun to pick it up again, and I'm really happy that I enjoyed stitching it, because then I can stitch the rest of the pieces without feeling, am I going to like this? No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. The next project, the next to last, I think we're gonna do this instead. It is Sloth. This is another one on my full coverage. This is stitched on white 25 count even weave 2/1. I have gridded it with fishing line. I do prefer the gridded fabric, the easy grid fabric by Zweigart. When I started doing full coverage, I think there was a DMC easy count, but for 25 count that was for 20 boxes and not 10 boxes. While I was learning about full coverage, and for a couple of years that was all that existed, and then Zweigart started with their 10 by 10 25 count easy grade with gray marks instead, and I love it. I love it, and sometimes I wish I had it on all of my full coverages, but I don't. I have two full coverages that I started that doesn't have easy grade, and this is one of them. This is Sloth. This is my only Heaven and Earth design. I do have all of the other patterns, and I've talked about AI before. I'm not going to go into huge details about it, but I'm going to stitch the patterns that I have bought. I will not continue purchasing from Heaven and Earth Designs because of their stance of AI. I am going, hopefully, I don't know if I will finish all of the 7 sins, but I have all the 7 ladies. I've stitched 2 of them, and this is the 3rd. This is Sloth. The 7 sins are illustrated by Martha Dalig. I love them. Her designs are beautiful, and this is where it is so far. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to fold it a little bit. I'm going to fold it a little bit because this is what I have stitched in this past week. And as you can see, it's a low straight line, and that is because this sliver is a separate page, and I just wanted to finish it there. Like, there's a sliver of a page. I want this page finished, so I did. I really enjoyed it. And if you look at this fully, you see I have, this is stitched when I still did columns. However, my projects have column lines. I will explain this in my parking tutorial, why column lines discover, because I know why they do it. But yeah, so I now stitched from the other side because that also makes the thread park easier, but that is why it looks like it looks. That is where it is. I'm having a lot of fun. 5 days, 3,279 stitches, if I didn't say that. This came up once for whip go. However, I continued stitching on it for a couple of days just to add to it. So I do have the double numbers for this than what my whip go called for. Now I have one more whip, and that is going to be Gamer Nouveau. This is illustrated by Medusa Dollmaker. This is sharded by Gecko Rouge. However, they don't shard her designs anymore, but you can find her designs on her webpage with her sharding. Just so we're aware that they might not be the same. This is a kit because Gecko Rouge only sells kit, and this is where I am. I really love the design. I have actually spent 13 days doing this. 13 days, actually 12 days, because I realized I have one that I actually didn't register anything on. So, okay, let's do that again. 12 days. I've stitched 12 days. I have stitched 7,752 stitches on this. I had a rough end of February and I just deep dived stitching in this because that was kind of my comfort spot. Yeah, 7,752 stitches on this. I think I've done total of over 10,000 stitches this year on it. It is again stitched on 25 count, easy grid, 2/1. And look at it. Look at it! I'm actually really enjoying it. Soon, a little why there is unevenness in the bottom, I have decided to start stitching where the page lines are because I felt that this was a little bit too many rows to fit perfectly on the 8-inch height. So I just go into doing the pages, and therefore we have a little bit of a difference there. But soon I will take this stitching and meet up with that, and then we start over there. But yeah, that was all of my works in progress. To finish off with my stitching, I do have a new start. My new start was my hashtag Year of the Snake Sow. I was hoping to be able to make this video much sooner and share it with you, that I started it and everything. But yeah, I am doing a snake in this Year of the Snake. So the Chinese/Japanese/ I think there's one more country that celebrates years like this. It is Year of the Snake, and it started the 29th of January, and I started my snake. This is Pretty Python, and Pretty Python is by Needlelot Design. I bought it over on her Ko-fi, but she has, I think she both have Etsy and a regular store, so you don't have to buy it on their Ko-fi, but I got it on their Ko-fi. I think I got it like a day or 2 months early, because she releases her patterns like 2 months before on her Ko-fi than on the rest. So is this, yeah, this is right side up. This is where I am. This is the start of Pretty Python. So if you don't see it, the python goes around like this. And this was actually before I had my wider frames. And I probably would have done a lot more if I had a wider frame, because this was a little bit cramped. But I think I'm gonna just move upwards and stitch the upper part, the lower part, like the middle part, and then the lower part the next time I pick it out. But this is where I am so far. I put in 5 days on it and 2,044 stitches, and that is 25% of it. So it's not a super big design. I hope to pick it up here in March and continue stitching on it, and we'll see where I will be. But yeah, that was all of my stitching. So if you're just here for the stitching, thank you so much for coming. I will see you in 1 week's time. I will hopefully be doing like the vlogging style kind of videos going forward again, because I really enjoy that. I just didn't have energy to continue. But I also want to thank you so much for watching. If you decide to stop it here, thank you so much for coming back. Do all the stuff, you like, comment, all those things really means a lot to me. And if you like this video and isn't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. It would be great. And for you who are staying on, let's talk a little bit of crocheting. So for the past 43 days, I actually have been crocheting quite a lot. I actually went through and did a lot of finishing of crochet projects that have been laying around the apartment that really needed to be finished. And here are a few of those, or the 4 I know that I finished, at least. The first one is this huge horse. I'm gonna roll back and hopefully I can see. It's not a perfect horse, but it's kind of fun. And I hope that the recipient will love the horsey. It is stitched in Baby Snuggles by Hobby. I can tell you, I've been starting to be a little bit of a connoisseur. Is that the word? That's definitely not the word. I started looking into chenille yarns. All of these are polyester chenille yarns though, to use for doing like fluffy stuff. And Baby Snuggles is a fairly thick yarn, but it's also a very, very soft yarn. It's very, very snuggly. So I have, I made a couple of things. I did a cucumber for my one of my brother's bonus daughters because she loves cucumbers. And when she done that, her older sister wanted a horse. And a horse is not as easy as a cucumber, so I found a pattern. I started on the horsey, and then I realized that I want to make it huge and snuggly, so I just changed the yarn and the hook and I made it bigger. And the pattern isn't made for this yarn, so it's a little bit, it's like a little bit shorter in the bum, and the neck is kind of wide and stuff, but it's cozy. It has little cute eyes. So yeah, I kind of like it. And it's gonna go to the recipient, not this weekend, but maybe in a week or two. So yeah, it is also a bit late. Her birthday was in November. But I did finish it. The next finish is a tractor for their sister, the youngest sister, my brother's biological daughter. My brother said, hey, she wants something too. Maybe you can make a tractor. And I thought I heard he said a tractor. But for some reason, like, my brain records everything I hear, and then I replay it in my mind. Yeah, it's an annoying feature, but it exists. However, sometimes the recording doesn't work, and this time it didn't. So I wasn't 100% sure that it was a tractor, but I thought it was, so I made a tractor. And this is completely me. I've done it from my own head, my own design. I purchased some red yarn, and then I made like wheels and stuff. The first iteration had too much smaller wheels, so these wheels was actually the size for this wheel, and then I sized up. I still think that the back wheels should be even bigger. However, I ran out of yarn and I wanted this to be finished. So this is the tractor. It's super cute and it's super fluffy. Like, I haven't filled these fully. I haven't pushed the filling because I do believe that they are supposed to be very cuddly, and a little bit of a softer pillow is nicer. And it's also done with the Baby Snuggles using a 7mm hook. So yeah, that is project number 2. We're gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it back in their boxes because they have their boxes. I just haven't been able to give them to them. Next project I finished is actually something that not only did I finish, I also reimagined it a little bit, and that is my Halloween shirt. So Hobby every year has a Halloween collection and a Christmas collection, and they also have a yarn called Horizon, which is a stripy yarn, just acrylic, but it's a very, very soft acrylic, and I really like it. So this is made with one of their Halloween colors. So I'm gonna stand up, and you're gonna not see me. Let's see. Can I stand up further away? Can you see? You can sort of see. It goes down like halfway on my hip. I'm not gonna wear it right now. The thing was, when I started making this, I made it in the round. It is I did it top down in the round. It is a joke. I didn't have a pattern, so don't ask me where the pattern is because I didn't have a pattern. It's just a joke. It was like, it just sized for me. This is how I mostly do my clothing. Whenever I work from a pattern, I get bored because I don't get that like designy stuff, while when I work from my own mind, I really enjoy it. So this is the shirt. It is a little bit longer. I prefer to have a little bit of a longer shirt. The thing was, when I had finished the base of the body, and it was time for me to make the sleeves, I realized that the striping would be completely different because the sleeves have a much shorter circumference. and I got a little bit like stuck. And then I decided I wanted to have black arms, and I started to do the arms, and it just didn't look good, because one of my little pet peeves with the hobby and the horizon is gorgeous, but it doesn't have hobby doesn't have a yarn that matches, that is a solid. I would wish they had a solid, but they don't have a solid that matches the weight perfectly. The ends I have here is the Amigo. I worked with the black piece with the ribbing is the black from Amigo. It is not as soft, and it's a little bit thinner. Some of their patterns recommend their featherweight, which is as soft as Horizon, but it is a little bit thicker than Horizon. So I can't just swap them. But yeah, so it didn't look good with the Amigo on the sleeves, and then I decided I am just gonna do a little bit of ribbing on the edging, and this is gonna be like more of a t-shirt. I usually have a black linen, so like a tank top, which is a longer tank top on me when it is summer, so then I can just have this on top, and all of the holes and everything will make it not too hot, hopefully. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I really like it. So I'm super happy about it. So that is my third crochet finish. Then I have my fourth and final crochet finish, which is another granny square thing. So this is my granny square jacket. I'm going to put it on the right side. So this is how it looks. This is actually made with Joanne Fabrics thread. I think it is. No, it's Red Heart Super Saver. It is stitched with Red Heart Super Saver. But I bought it at Joann's because I had seen a Wonderland Crochet, something like that she's called. She makes really cool granny square jackets. And she's a very nice person. Like, she shares what yarn she uses, what patterns she uses. She doesn't gatekeep. She's more like, you buy these things from me if you can't crochet. If you can crochet, why shouldn't I just share these things and you can make it yourself, which is super nice. And both of these are the Super Saver. This is retro something, I think the yarn is called. I don't know, I don't have the paper left. But so I made this while we were in Florida. So I bought the yarn in Florida because I wanted to figure out how the Super Saver yarns compare to the hobby yarns, because I will keep on buying the hobby yarns because they're cheaper for me. They are a Danish brand, so it's easier for me to get hold of it. But I wanted to know how these yarns that all of the American crochet designers use compare to the hobby yarns. And I think this is most closely to Amigo XL, and Amigo XL is much softer than the Super Saver is, just so you know. But yeah, so I made little sleeves. I did add a couple of rows down here to make a little bit of length. It didn't really need it, but I'm gonna keep it. And then I did a ribbing with buttonholes, but I don't have any buttons because I haven't bought any buttons yet. I don't really know a button store in Stockholm. There's probably is one, but I don't know it. So I haven't bought any buttons yet. I haven't found any online that I really like, and I want them to be fairly big, so I made the buttonholes really big. But yeah, so this is my latest like granny square. It is super warm and it's super cozy. So early mornings here in the office can be a little bit chilly, and I really like that I have this one now to keep myself warm. So yeah, I'm super happy that it's finally finished, even though it doesn't have any buttons. But yeah, that is all my projects. I do have one project on the go for crocheting, and that is well, I started a hat to match this. I haven't gone very long on it, but I do have a baby blanket for a friend of mine who just a friend couple who just become parents, and I want to make a little baby blanket. And I'm again using hobby yarn, but a little bit of a lighter yarn, and I'm working on that, and that is the only project that I have in the go, and I will show you that when the parents are gonna get it. So yeah, that is all my crocheting, and right now it's pretty warm in here, so I'm gonna remove this one because otherwise I will burn up in here. But yeah, that was all of the crocheting. If you're not interested in what's going on in my life, then this might be the end of this video for you. And if you stayed for both my cross stitching and my crocheting, I want to thank you so much for doing so. And you know, I hope you liked the video, and I hope you want to stay and hit the subscribe button and all of those things. But yeah, down to what's happening in my life. So let's talk about what's happening in my life and why I haven't been making videos and all of those things. If you want me to spill the tea, today is not the video. I'm gonna be very sadly for you, but I'm gonna be very not detailed oriented in some of these things, because there's things going down. There's things going down. Just say I quit my job. I handed in my resignation. Yeah. But first we're going to talk about my health issues. I still have my tummy issues. We might have this might be what it is. We did a little bit of a stress testing situation this weekend, and I talked to my doctor early this week, and he said, great that you did that stress test, and yes, this really makes our direction a lot clearer. And yeah, I'm gonna take some tests in the beginning of next week, and hopefully that will show what it is symptoms wise, and then it's probably gonna take a while to figure out why that is happening. But yeah, right now the theory is that I have a lack of enzymes, that my pancreas isn't producing as enzymes as it should, so we need to figure out why. That's kind of the health update. I am still not feeling very well. I have gotten sicker and sicker. I eat less and less, and my tummy reacts much more and more intense and much faster to food. So yeah, hopefully we'll know what it is and we'll figure something out. There is a medication with the stress. We did the stress test with that medication, and it might actually work. So we'll see. We'll see. I know more later on. On the other side of that, as I said, I have handed in my resignation, and there is so much tea. There is so much tea that I can't tell you. Nah. There's things I need to sign and stuff. But to make a very, very long story short, I now understand that a lot of my increased migraines in the past year and a half has not only had to do with the medication not working, but also because of really high amounts of stress. As I think it is as an autistic person, but I think it's just me. I think it is autism, but I don't know. It can just be me. For me, to be able to really engage in work, to really be the really good developer I am, I need to feel trust in the company that I work for. I need to have a solid connection at the company, which is my kind of go-to person, so they can introduce me to the persons I need to figure out who they are. I need to know that I can ask that person anything about the business whenever I need to, and they will never be angry about it or anything, and they will just be there, and that will help me to retain information. It will help me to do my job in a good way. And for a number of instances that has happened and other reasons, I never had that person at the company. I never had what I would call my anchor person. So I've always been floating around a little bit, which in itself is a very high stress situation for me. But on top of that, there has had been situation where the company should have been helping me, and instead they have tried to invalidate my feelings, tried to, in many shape and form, make me believe that it didn't happen or similar. And in the end, coming out of it, it took me until January, February this year, where another incident happened and I realized that they will not be on my side ever. And I had to take a very, very hard decision, because like, I am sick. I have sickness, and at the time I took my decision, I did not know that it was the enzymes. I thought it was the enzymes, but it wasn't something I had discussed with my doctor. It wasn't, we hadn't done a stress test and anything, which, by the way, we did on our own accord. My boyfriend found the medication, which is not a prescription medication. I do have it on prescription now because my doctor thought it was a really good thing I did. But we actually bought the medication. It was quite from a Swedish medication perspective, it's quite expensive. It was $70, and we didn't know if it would work, if I would take a couple of pills and like, yeah, this is not working, and then having to like throw away $70 of that. But in the end, it seems to work. But at the time I took this decision, I did not know that. So like, I took the decision, even though I am sick, even though all of these things are happening, I decided it was time for me to leave the company, to move on to something else. That the trust will never be rebuilt, and there were no reason for me to stay around. Like, I love the people I work with, the team that I work with. We are a very, very new team, so I haven't really known them. The people I work with also haven't been at the companies as a long time. We also have a new EM, a new PM. All of that is new in our team, so that would probably make a change. But I did feel that I didn't want to anymore. I didn't want to hope for change. I didn't want to do that anymore. There were no trust there. There would need to be a lot of things happening for the trust to come back, and I'm pretty sure that the company wasn't willing to do that. So in the end, I chose to leave. And early this week, I turned in my resignation, my 3 months notice. And that is a thing with Sweden. Like, there's a very strong employment laws and stuff, and my contract is a 3 months notice. But there, because of a lot of different reasons, I am going to be able to take a bunch of time off for that. From that, they are going to pay me my salary. I just don't have to work, which is a good thing for me. I'm gonna have the time to breathe. I'm gonna have the time to take care of myself, take care of my body, and then have the time to figure out what to do next. So that is where I am right now. So it's been a lot of chaos, a lot of everything. I am not worried about a job. I have some ideas, some people to talk to, some people that are happy to give me a job. So there are people out there that can help me. So I'm actually not worried about that. I think the situation would be very different if I was not pretty secure in that. Leaving a job without having that safety net, I think, would be very hard, especially when you're not full 100% and you're pretty sick. But anyhow, that is all that has been going on. So you kind of understand why I took over a month break from internet. I had to deal with all of these things. Like, it took me a while to come to the decision that this was the right thing for me. And of course, all of these have been taken together with my partner, Christopher. We have been together 14 years this year, so the 2nd of April we've been together for 14 years. All the decisions, especially decisions that are this big, we take together. And he's a huge support. He's been with me all the time, so that is a good thing. That is a good thing. But yeah, it's been chaotic. And it's finally slowing down. Now they are also very quick. I am going to go in and we're gonna sign some paper tomorrow. And then that is it. Well, it is it because I've already turned in my resignation. So from Monday, I think, Tuesday this week, started my notice period. So yeah, it's something new. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good for me. Also, I'm gonna get a lot of cross stitching done. But yeah, I have a couple of months to figure life out, and that's good. Yeah. Anyhow, I think that is all I have right now, because that is kind of what's been going on in life. The kitties are okay. I'm gonna be okay. Me and Kay are okay. Everything is good. Everything is good. So I will see you in a week's time with a whole bunch more of cross stitching. If you stay this long, put a cucumber emoji if you can, or a unicorn, or something. Put some kind of happiness into the comment section. So whatever emoji that represents happiness for you, if it's a rainbow or a unicorn or a cat or something, put it in the description down below. Let me know you're here, and thank you for being here. And I will see you in 1 week's time. Bye!